Where do the historians get what century did Jesus live in?
First century.
Where do you get that from?
Other external like secondary sources.
What are the primary sources that they use to say that Jesus lived in the first century?
Just testimonies of people.
What testimonies? I know. What testimonies?
Like,
What are the primary testimonies that they use to put Jesus in the first century and that he spoke Aramaic and Hebrew?
Could be Josephus, other historians.
Wait, I said primary, not secondary or tertiary. What are the primary sources that they use? Because Josephus is not the primary source they use. What's the primary source they use?
Primary sources, I don't know, maybe just the Bible.
Oh, beautiful. So the historians that you're relying on are using the Bible, the New Testament, to give you accurate historical information about Jesus. You just cut yourself, bro.
It's God. It's God. It's God.
How's it going?
Yo, GodLogic. How you doing, man?
What it do? Pretty good. How are you?
Yes, how did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you believe in the crucifixion?
He made it appear that Jesus was crucified.
And who did he make it appear to?
To whoever was there.
Okay, so you're doing like an internal critique, right? So you're allowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did actually present to the people that Jesus was crucified, but the specific people that we're referring to are the deceivers that were trying to kill Jesus. So we're talking specifically here the Jews. So the Jews that were trying to kill Jesus were deceived into thinking that Jesus was being crucified, when in reality he wasn't.
Were they the only ones? Were they the only ones who believed that Jesus was crucified?
Just let me finish. So
okay.
The knowledge that was transmitted through those Jews were then taken, right? So it's the fault is on the people who took the false testimony of those Jews who are already deceivers and evildoers.
So did the believers of Jesus also believe in the crucifixion?
No,
they didn't. They didn't think that he was crucified. No.
So so when you talk about believers here, there's gonna be like two categories. There'll be like the first category that would take like the Jews' testimony, which wouldn't be justified, and there would be the other people who didn't take the testimony, which of course that would be the right thing to do. So
who were the people who were going around saying that Jesus was crucified and that they saw him rise from the dead? Who are they?
Not rise from the dead, but if we're talking specifically crucifixion here,
wait, you don't believe that anyone was going around in the first century saying that they saw a risen Christ?
Yeah, so there were people claiming that, but this is like a complete red herring to the point of Allah making you believe in the crucifixion.
Well, it's not. It's actually right on the point. Who are these people?
It'll be the early Christians. However, the early Christians claim there's a resurrection is a distinct point to them claiming that there was a crucifixion.
Well,
the Quran doesn't comment on the origination of the resurrection. It comments on the origination of the crucifixion.
Well, why did they believe that Jesus was risen from the dead? How do they think that he died? These early Christians.
They assume that he was resurrected from the dead for many reasons. One reason would be that he's a man that was crucified and was elevated in status and was risen.
Got it.
So with these like sort of points, believing that a pious man had died and was risen, meaning risen to heaven, there would have been like these doctrines that would have.
Oh no, not risen to heaven, risen from the dead. They believe he was resurrected from the dead.
Yeah, I don't believe Allah has anything to do with like.
Well, I understand that, but they believe that he was risen from the dead because they believe that he died in the first place, right?
Yeah, but that's a non sequitur. It doesn't necessarily entail that he's resurrected because he died.
Oh, you're missing the point. They believed that they saw a resurrected Christ. Not saying that it's necessarily true. Just we're talking about what they were saying. They claim that they saw a resurrected Christ when resurrected from the dead. So they believed that Jesus died by crucifixion, correct?
Yeah, so let me give you like what our perspective would be. It would be that the Jews would have saw that Jesus was crucified. They would transmit that story or these like these sayings that he was crucified. Then people would have developed the doctrine. Obviously, it wouldn't be these Jews. Christians would have developed the doctrine of him resurrecting as well.
Where are you getting this from? That the Jews would have given the information to the believers of Jesus that he was crucified?
Because the tafsir talks about how the Jews specifically were the ones that were deceived by Allah.
So where does it say that the Jews are the ones who relayed the information to the believers of Jesus and therefore they believed he died? and then saw a risen Christ later?
Because the only people that has precedence within the Quran and Tafsir that actually saw Jesus being crucified was the Jews.
That's not true. Where does it say that they're the only ones who saw him being crucified?
Yeah, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deceived the deceivers, right? So they planned, and Allah is the best of planners in the context of showing them something that was untrue, correct?
Okay. But where does it say that the Christians or the people who believed in Jesus did not see or was not there at this event? That they would have gotten all of this information from these lying Jews? Where does the Quran say that, or a tafsir says that?
Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that he deceived the deceivers, correct?
Yeah.
And that's in the context of him showing that Jesus was being crucified, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And who are the deceivers here? They're the Jews, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So if it's the Jews that are being deceived by Allah, and they are the deceivers, why would it be including the Christians?
Because it's not exclusive to them. It's not exclusive to them. Because if you because what you have here, hold on, let me respond to you fully, if I can, please.
Yeah.
What you have by your own admission is that the believers of Jesus thought that he was crucified. But now what you're saying is that but where they got this from was these Jews who were spreading this information around. Where do you get that from?
It's from the tafsir.
Where does the tafsir say the followers of Jesus believed that Jesus died by crucifixion because the Jews told them?
Yeah, sure. So just give me a second to pull up the tafsir.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'm gonna need to be off the app for a sec.
No worries. In the meantime, guys, make sure you guys are hitting the like button. Welcome back.
Yeah, so if you want, maybe you can show your viewers as well. Just pull up Quran 4:157 and pull up the tafsir for that on Quran.com.
Which tafsir?
Tafsir ibn Kathir.
All right. Ibn Kathir. Oops.
And then underneath the section, yeah, so the section that starts off with "and those who differ," just read from there.
All right. 4:157 under the section "those who differ."
Yeah, so while you're pulling it up, I'll just explain. So you got to show a justification on why the Christians are the ones who were also deceived, or they gained their knowledge from watching the crucifixion happen. From the Quran and Tafsir, I gave you justification on why it was the Jews specifically, and how the Jews relayed that knowledge to these ignorant Christians who believed. The Christians who weren't ignorant and that didn't, obviously take the knowledge from these deviant and ignorant and evil Jews. These would have been the true believers that would have been on the haqq, they would have been on the truth.
Sorry, I tried to listen, but I'm not that great at multitasking. But the killed not nor crucified. All right, and those who differ. All right, so and those who differ. Found it right here. Hold on, let me make it bigger for.
Just read all of it out loud, please, because it costs
YouTube. What just happened? Oh, my bad, y'all. All right, over here, let's go and make it larger. But they killed him not. Those who differ follow nothing but conjecture, referring to the Jews who claim to kill Isa and the ignorant Christians who believed them. Indeed, they are all in confusion, misguidance, and bewilderment. This is why Allah said, "For surely they killed him not," meaning they are not sure that Isa was the one whom they killed. Rather, they are in doubt and confusion over this matter. So it says that the Jews and the Christians are in doubt over the matter if Jesus was actually killed.
Yeah, so the Jews who claimed it, and those ignorant Christians who believed those Jews.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I showed you justification.
Well, where
I
is?
showed you justification. Wait, one second.
Okay.
I showed you justification for my position. Can you justify your position
Well,
that you're trying to impose
well,
on me?
well,
That
well,
the
but hold
Christian-
on a second, my friend. Hold on a second. You quoting Ibn Kathir doesn't help you. Where does Ibn Kathir get this from? That Christians heard the lies of Jews and therefore believed them. You just quoting you quoting somebody that shares your position doesn't solidify your position.
Oh, of course it does, because Tafsir Ibn Kathir would have taken, of course, who's Ibn Kathir, right? He's one of the most prominent tafsirs that we have, the Mufassirs, and his tafsir is one of the most prominent works that we have. So when we talk about exegeting the Quran, our definitive sources of information to exegete the Quran would be the Quran and the Sunnah.
Wait,
So from the Quran itself, as well as the Sunnah.
That's fine and all, but this isn't just a hold on, just really quick. Hold on, just really quick, Dean. Dean, you're making a historical claim, Dean. This isn't just Quran and I got to stick to Quran. This is a historical claim. So when I asked you just plain. I didn't ask based on the Quran. I asked you, did the followers of Jesus believe he was crucified? And you gave the answer. They believed it because the Jews told them. The Jews who were deceived told them, and therefore that's what they believed. This wasn't just simply based on Quran. You're giving me an historical answer. So this is why I'm asking, when you say, you're just quoting Ibn Kathir that gives this position, where does he get this from? Just because Ibn Kathir says it doesn't mean it's historically accurate.
Okay. So you're shifting the goalpost now to what's historically accurate and what's not historically accurate, to the point before that you were making, that Allah is the one who's made you believe in the crucifixion. Now, if you're granting me that Allah,
how long does Ibn Kathir come after the first century?
You want to let me finish?
No, just really quick. How long does Ibn Kathir come after the first century? No, how long does Ibn Kathir come after the first century?
Sure. Again, you asked me a different question.
This should be easy. How long does Ibn Kathir come after the first century? It should be easy.
Yeah, 1,000+ years.
1,000 plus. So 1,000 plus years later, you're relying on a guy 1,000 plus years later that says that the first century Christians believed that Jesus was crucified because the Jews who were deceived told them. What is his basis for this?
No worries. Okay. Yeah, let me finish.
Go ahead.
Okay. So the point is that Ibn Kathir is giving us an exegesis of the Quran for Muslims, right? So Muslims are going to hold to the presupposition that whatever is the definitive source of information that we can rely upon is going to supersede any non-definitive sources of information coming from history. So history comes through words of mouth, through fallible human beings, so on and so forth. We have the Quran and the Sunnah coming from the Prophet, a definitive source of information for us, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's words, another definitive source of information for us, and that's what he's basing his opinion on. He's not basing his opinion on some fallible work or some fallible historical documents or some fallible historical relaying of a message. That's what it sounds like to me. Again, you interrupt. I didn't interrupt you.
Well,
let me finish.
How long are you going to go? Is this a monologue? Or are we talking here?
I didn't say you were having a monologue when I let you finish.
Because I didn't talk for longer than 2 minutes. Let's have a conversation, bro. You don't need.
Yeah, it hasn't even been a minute. Like,
so let's have it, Dean. Please don't do none of this crying stuff, bro. Let's engage with each other. You just made a claim. You gave your reason.
You're the one that's crying.
Let's go ahead and engage. Let's not do this, man. Can we engage, please?
Yeah. So
okay. So let me engage with you. You don't even need to repeat what you said. I heard what you said. So now,
okay.
You said that Ibn Kathir is relying on relying on the Quran and Sunnah. That's what you said in a jest. Is that correct?
Yeah, those are the only two definitive sources of information.
Beautiful. Those are the sources of information that Ibn Kathir is pulling from. Where? Okay, since he's using the Quran and the Sunnah, where in the Quran and the Sunnah does it say that the Christians believed the Jews that Jesus was crucified? Where does the Quran and the Sunnah say this?
That the Jews specifically believed that Jesus was crucified?
No, I'll ask it again. Because Ibn Kathir says, and this is your position, that the Christians believed Jesus was crucified because the deceived Jews relayed that information to them.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
they deferred on this. My question is, and you said he pulls this from the Quran and Sunnah. Where in the Quran, where in the Sunnah does it say that the Christians believe Jesus was crucified and it's because of the Jews what they said?
Yeah, no worries. So the point I'm making isn't that every opinion from Quranic exegetes are going to be exactly found in the Quran and Sunnah. Ibn Kathir's opinion is based upon the Quran and Sunnah.
Come on, man.
If his opinion is compatible with the Quran and Sunnah, we take from it. Your view that you
stop, pause there. Pause there. No, wait, Paul. That's beautiful. That's beautiful what you said. Wait, pause there. Pause there. Yeah, everyone sees this. Pause there. You said, Dean, that they're that what they say that their opinions, Dean. Hold on, Dean, because you're stuck here. You just said that their opinions are compatible with the Quran and the Sunnah. So now it's not simply just because at first you said he's getting it from the Quran and the Sunnah. Now it's it's compatible with the Quran and the Sunnah. You see how you switch there? So show me where in the Quran and the Sunnah it's compatible. Where does it match?
Okay. No worries. Instead of just letting me say one sentence and taking my words out of context,
you said multiple sentences, and when you said something key, that's where I stopped you.
Give me 1 minute. Can you give me 1 minute to speak?
1 minute? You need 1 minute to answer the question?
You've been rambling for 2 minutes.
I've been rambling.
Give me 1 minute.
I've been rambling.
So can you give me 1 minute to reply?
I like you a lot, Dean. I do. I like you a lot.
So can you give me a minute to reply?
I'll give you enough time. I'll give you enough time.
Okay. So when I said he takes from two definitive sources information, what I was referring to is that those are his standards by which he will interpret any text within Islam, based upon other texts within the Quran and the Sunnah. Now, your position that you're trying to, advocate for within the Quran and Sunnah isn't compatible, because Allah says at the very beginning, I told you, He deceived the deceivers. The Christians aren't the deceivers, so they're not part of that category. How did the Christians have this knowledge? Through the transmission of the deceivers. That is compatible with the Quran and Sunnah. That's why I don't have a problem with Ibn Kathir's interpretation. The same way I don't have a problem with him using the substitute theory. It's not in the Quran and Sunnah, but it doesn't matter. It's compatible with them, so it's a valid take. Got it.
So now, guys, where we're at here is that it doesn't have to be in the Quran or the Sunnah, but Ibn Kathir can make something up, and it could line up somehow with the Quran's position, and therefore you can take his interpretation. This is Islam, ladies and gentlemen. This is Islam. So thank you, Dean. I don't know where do we go from here? We have a position where Ibn Kathir just makes stuff up. It's not in the Quran, it's not in the Sunnah, even though you said he gets his stuff from the Quran and the Sunnah. When I asked you, okay, show me where in the Quran and the Sunnah that he got it from, that Christians believe the Jews who were deceived, that's not in the Quran and the Sunnah, but it's compatible with it. His interpretation doesn't go against what the Quran says necessarily. It could be compatible. So he could just make stuff up and then you can go with the interpretation. It's a pick-me religion, bro. What we doing here, man? What we doing here?
Okay, so the point would be that we have two definitive sources of information.
You don't have it. Wait, stop there. I'm sorry. I don't mean I'm sorry that I'm cutting you off with this. I'm sorry that I'm sorry, and I apologize for cutting you off here. But you don't. You just said that you have two definitive sources of information when you're not definitive on nothing. You're not definitive on nothing. I just asked you, where in your two definitive sources does it say this? And it's nowhere to be found. You had to go to Ibn Kathir, where Ibn Kathir, you said, is pulling from these sources, where this stuff is nowhere to be found. What are you talking about? If it's definitive, show me from the Quran and the Sunnah where it says anything that you and Ibn Kathir are saying.
Are you done?
I'm waiting for that answer. Show me that your sources are definitive in this matter. Show me where definitively it says what you're saying it says.
Okay. The point is that we have these two definitive sources of information that are used to be our standards by which we will interpret the Quran. So when we interpret the Quran, we have only a set boundary because of the limitations Allah has set within the Quran and Sunnah. Within that boundary,
what's that boundary?
Can you let me finish?
You're just saying stuff. What is that boundary?
You spoke for a good 2 minutes. I didn't say you're having a monologue.
What is that boundary? What is that boundary?
Can you let me finish?
What is that boundary?
You're embarrassing yourself, honestly.
No, you're embarrassing yourself. You're saying your sources are definitive without showing any definitive answers. You're embarrassing yourself.
You're not letting me finish.
This is why I'm happy that you're here. By the way, guys, this is one of their smart guys, supposedly. Go ahead.
Can you let me finish? Okay.
You have no answers.
We have two definitive sources of information by which there are both standards where we interpret the Quran and Sunnah from. Within these boundaries of the Quran and Sunnah, we can have differences of opinion. One set of opinion that you brought up that I told you to justify is in contradiction with the Quran when it says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deceived the deceivers. The Christians, the believers, aren't people that are deceivers. Who are the deceivers in this context? It's the Jews. So because the Jews are the ones who are being deceived by Allah, Allah has nothing to do with anything that comes afterwards. Allah only has to do with those who have been deceived, who are the Jews. And of course, in the Bible, like, I don't know if you want to get into discussion if whether God can deceive or not, we can get into that. But I think we should move on from this point.
Okay, I know you would want to move on from this point. This is why I cut you off, because you say a lot of nothing. And I try to get you to hone in on the important points instead of the waffling. You didn't say anything in this entire time that you spoke. So I'll ask you this again, since you got two definitive sources. Where in your definitive sources does it say that the Christians thought Jesus was crucified? Where does the Quran say this? Does it say it? Just a quick answer, please.
Sorry, repeat your question.
Does the Quran say that the Christians believe Jesus was crucified?
It doesn't comment on that.
Okay, it doesn't comment on that. So according to two definitive sources, guys, these sources are definitive, by the way, but the Quran doesn't comment on that. Here's my second question. Who are the ones explicitly from the Quran who thought Jesus was crucified?
The Jews.
Okay, so if anyone says that the Christians thought that Jesus was also crucified, does that contradict what the Quran says?
Oh my days! You don't know what a contradiction is. You know what a P and not P is?
Oh, what about non-compatibility? What about non-compatibility? Because you said let me switch it. Let me switch it. Hold on, Dean, because you're trying to run away, Dean. Dean, you're trying to run away. Let's take away. Let me use your words. You said compatibility. You said compatibility. You said compatibility. Is it compatible if the Quran explicitly says that it's the Jews who are the ones who thought that Jesus was crucified? Is it compatible to say that the Christians thought that Jesus was crucified?
No, it's not. I'll tell you. Okay, you're gonna have to let me finish.
It's just a quick answer. No, because it's just a quick answer, please.
Okay, so I give you one-worded responses and you monologue. Is that right?
No. It's just a quick, because I'm making a point here. This is why I'm asking the question. Okay. I'm building the blocks here.
Okay, repeat your question.
So since the Quran, as you admitted, only explicitly says that the Jews are the ones who thought Jesus was crucified.
Yep.
Is it compatible to say that Christians also thought that Jesus was crucified?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Compatible. All right, beautiful. So now, guys, watch here. He said that my view of me saying that as a Christian, I am incompatible with the Quran's view that Jesus was crucified, tricked by Allah, because Allah made it appear so. Even though it doesn't say that he made it appear to the Christians also, right? It doesn't say that he made it appear to the Christians also, but I'm inferring that because Allah made it appear to people, that I also the Christians, that means that I am contradicting and not compatible with the Quran's narrative. Even though because the Quran doesn't say that. It explicitly says that there was a particular people who were deceived into thinking Jesus was crucified. Specific people. Just like here, it says that there was a specific people who thought Jesus was crucified. Doesn't mention the Christians. So if we're going to be consistent, Dean, if you're going to be consistent, I'm not incompatible with the Quran's view, even though it doesn't explicitly say that also there were Christians who were also deceived by Allah when he made it appear that Jesus was crucified on the cross, even though it doesn't explicitly mention them. I'm not out of line if it's not out of line to say that Christians believe Jesus was crucified because Jews taught them that, because Jews are the ones who spread that message. You got to be consistent.
Okay. I'll let you asking a set of questions. I gave you direct responses, and I let you monologue for a good 2 minutes. Can you let me speak?
It's on you, bro.
Okay, thank you. So, yeah, what is compatible is that you asked me, can the Christians believe? Is it compatible that the
That's
Christians
not what I
believe?
asked.
Okay, can you? You're already interrupted me.
Well, you started off misrepresenting my question.
Can you let me speak? Can you let me speak? And then once I'm done speaking, and I ask.
Well, can you get my question right?
Okay, repeat your question. Go ahead.
Wait. See. Now you want me to talk. When you I wasn't even gonna like interrupt. I was just interjecting like, hey, that's not what I asked.
Okay, repeat your question. Okay, my bad. I have bad memory. Repeat your question.
So my first question was, did the Christians believe that Jesus was crucified? That was my first question. Is that what you're talking about?
No. You asked if it's compatible.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, that's what I asked you, right? Was it is it compatible to say that the Christians believe that Jesus was crucified in the Quran? You said yes.
Yes. Okay.
Even though it doesn't explicitly say.
Let me add context to that. Okay.
Right, go ahead.
Add context to that. So yes, only in the case if you're saying that they believed he was crucified through the transmission from the Jews. If they believed he was crucified by witnessing a deception, no, that's not compatible with the Quran. That's what you were trying to say before. So when you said that Allah made me believe the crucifixion, no, Allah made the Jews believe in the crucifixion, not you.
Okay. So do you see what you're doing now? You're doing it again. And it sounds like you completely missed the point that I made. Notice how, again, you're saying that the reason why I am incompatible with the Quran and saying that the Christians also experienced the deception is because the Quran explicitly mentions a particular people who experienced the deception, right? That's your point, right?
Yes, the deceivers.
Okay.
Are the Christians deceivers?
Okay, no, stop.
They're not.
Because
okay, so
but hold on. Okay, so when it says that specifically a particular people were the ones who were deceived into believing a crucifixion, and therefore, if I say anything outside of what was explicitly stated, I am not compatible with what the Quran is saying. Then you cannot say that the Christians believed he was crucified at all, because the Quran only mentions a specific people, the Jews, who were boasting about his crucifixion, that believed that Jesus was crucified. So to say that Christians believed he was crucified is going against what the Quran says is not compatible according to your own standard of compatibility.
Okay. Let me make it simple for you. There's two levels to this. The first level is Allah deceived the Jews. If you pull up Tafsir ibn Kathir, what we just read before, it'll help you understand. There's the first level, which is the Jews who were deceived by Allah. Then, if you hold that those who were deceived by Allah includes the Jews, this is completely incompatible, and this has all that has to do with what Allah did. Then, there's a second level to this, which is the Christians who had the information relayed to them by the Jews of what they witnessed, okay? And this is what Allah says. He implies this ambiguously, saying that all they have to base this is conjecture. What is the conjecture here? It's the Jews spreading the rumors of what they saw. Now, the Jews who spread these rumors, they're reprobate Jews who try to kill Jesus. You're not justified in taking their testimony. So this has nothing to do with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Dude, that makes absolutely no sense. If you're saying that there's two levels now remember, oh wait, hold on, I didn't cut you off, did I?
Go ahead.
So now we're switching from your definitive sources. Now the commentary of Ibn Kathir is now your definitive source, not the Quran and Sunnah. Now it's Ibn Kathir because your Quran it doesn't say anything on this. I'm going with your standard, bro. So now when you say now you have to go with Ibn Kathir's commentary, where he's adding where the Quran nor the Sunnah speak on. Matter of fact, he's going against where the Quran and the Sunnah are explicit on. You now have to try to assume. Wait a second. Let me finish.
Please tell me how he's going.
Let me finish, man.
How's he going against it?
Let me finish, man. Come on, man. So when you're over here, so the part where it says right, but those who differ among this, they just follow conjecture. Now you're saying this implies that Christians are involved in this. No, it doesn't. Christians are nowhere even mentioned in the context. All of this is about Jews and the Jews who were boasting. All of that. That's all it's about. So the only those who are disagreeing in the matter would have to be the Jews, man. Has nothing to do with the Christians. So again, you are incompatible. You and Ibn Kathir. I wish he was here because I'll cook him too. Both of you guys are incompatible with the Quran according to your standard of what compatibility is, because the Quran is speaking explicitly about a particular people, and you and Ibn Kathir are going outside of what the Quran explicitly talks about, just like you're saying I'm doing. So therefore, we're both incompatible with the Quran, or I can do exactly what you guys are doing and saying the Christians also experienced a deception who were there witnessing the crucifixion at the cross. So either we're both incompatible, or we can both do this and talk about what the Quran doesn't explicitly say.
Okay. Two points I wanna address. The first point is you're conflating incompatibility with external sources. Just because something's an external source doesn't mean it's incompatible. Ibn Kathir is an external source from the Quran and Sunnah. Sure, he's doing his own ijtihad, he's doing his own interpretations based upon what he already has knowledge on within the Quran and Sunnah. So he has these boundaries to work upon. Now, just because he's an external source doesn't mean he's incompatible. Your interpretation is incompatible with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's deception, including the Christians, because the Christians aren't part of those who are being deceivers. It's only the Jews. Now, those who are in a disagreement, that can't be talking about the Jews. This is so like this is such poor exegesis on your part, because if they're in disagreement, why would they be in disagreement of something they just witnessed? This is obviously talking about the Christians disagreeing, hearing the testimony of the Jews, and then also other Christians believing that Jesus wasn't crucified. Okay, now why would the Christians be those who are in a disagreement? Sorry, the Jews. How would the Jews be the ones who are in disagreement if they just witnessed with their own eyes Jesus being crucified? That makes no sense.
So, dude, I haven't conflated anything. I've only used your literally your own standard. I've only used your own standard. You have been saying, I'm not saying that because Ibn Kathir is an outside source that makes him incompatible. You're saying, you said to me that because my interpretation or what I said is not involved in what is explicitly mentioned in the Quran about who it's referring to, that therefore I am not compatible with what the Quran is saying. So I'm just holding you to the same standard that you're applying to me.
Sorry, repeat that. I liked her a bit.
I said that I'm only holding you to the same standard that you're applying to me. I didn't say that because Ibn Kathir is an outside source that therefore he's incompatible. I'm going with your standard of incompatibility. That if I'm saying something that the Quran did not say, but not just what the Quran didn't say, but when the Quran explicitly is talking about something in particular or people in particular, if I add in other groups, other peoples, or another something to what the Quran explicitly talked about, then I am not compatible with what the Quran is saying. That's what you said.
That's wrong. That's wrong.
You said that's wrong? That's been your entire position. What are you talking about?
No. Okay, GodLogic. I'm going to put it very simply for you. Within my position that I just relayed to you, can the Christians be part of those who are deceived?
Yep.
Yes or no?
Yep.
No, they can't.
Why not? Why not? They were at the cross. They witnessed it. Yes, absolutely.
My position I relate to you. Did I say they're the ones who witnessed it?
Not necessarily. That's not your position, but my position is that they were there and witnessed it.
Okay, I'm okay, brother. I told you my position. Okay, I made it very clear. I said my position. So I'm gonna ask you one more time.
Were they there
within my because I want to know if I don't think you're actually understanding what I'm saying. So within the crucifixion, we have the Jews who were trying to get Jesus crucified, and they were deceived into thinking that Jesus was on the cross, but it wasn't actually Jesus. Okay, so we have this. Anyone that says that the Christians were part of those who were deceived are wrong, because the Christians aren't those who were trying to kill Jesus. These were the Jews who were trying to kill Jesus.
Okay,
that's the first part.
I don't mean to cut you off. Stop. Can you please pause there on that first part, please?
Let me finish so I can make it clear. The second part of the verse is those who are in disagreement. Those who are in disagreement are the Christians. Okay, that is compatible if you're going to say, brother, do you think the Jews are those who are in a disagreement? Those who just witnessed Jesus get crucified? What are you talking about?
Okay, now let's go with your first part.
Why would they be in disagreement?
Let's go with your first part. Were there Christians who witnessed the crucifixion?
No.
No? And what is your basis on that?
The Quran says the deceivers were deceived. The Christians fled. They didn't witness
Okay.
it.
All right. So no, look at this, dude. You're saying that there were no Christians, no people who believed in Jesus that were witnesses of the crucifixion, as when history completely disagrees with you. You have so, but you're of course, but you're using Ibn Kathir, who's trying to make a historical claim. But you don't care about history. I know you're when you're Islam, you're ahistorical.
Why would I care?
But notice this. But notice this. According to your Quran, who was it that thought Jesus was crucified?
It was the Jews.
So
it was the Jews.
Thank you. Thank you.
You have to let me clarify.
You already did.
Their eyewitness, and also the Christians who took their testimony.
Okay, where does the Quran say that?
The Quran doesn't have to say.
The Quran doesn't have to say it. So the Quran doesn't have to say that the Christians also were there to witness the deception of Allah. The Quran doesn't have to say that. I can infer that from the information of the event itself and all that we know about the crucifixion event. I can infer that just like you're inferring that Christians were the ones who got deceived by the Jews who were there when the Quran doesn't say that. The Quran doesn't have to. I can do the same thing, bro.
No, because your interpretation contradicts what it's saying. My interpretation,
and so does yours.
No, it doesn't. Show me the contradiction.
Okay.
Wait, one second. I'll show the contradiction.
We're in circles here, man. We're in circles here.
Wait, GodLogic. And also one more thing. I want to clarify. When I said I didn't care about history as well, I didn't care about your history that you derive from the Bible with no first century manuscripts. Do you have any first century manuscripts?
What language did Jesus speak? What language did Jesus speak?
He spoke more. There's a difference of opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, what language is he? What language did he speak?
Some will say Aramaic and Greek.
From where? Where they get it from?
Yeah, it depends on the person you ask. You ask a Christian.
No. I'm asking you, Dean. What language did Jesus speak, Dean?
Historians would say Aramaic. Some
Beautiful.
would say Greek as well.
Good. Where do the historians get it from that Jesus spoke Aramaic or Greek or Hebrew, whatever?
Yeah, just the context he lived in, archaeological evidence.
Nice. The context, the context that he lived in. How do they put Jesus in any context that he lived in where he would have been speaking Aramaic? What source do they use? What's their source?
It could be archaeology or other.
What archaeology? What archaeology? Come on, man.
I don't know. I'm not a historian, bro. What do you want to say?
What do you mean you're not a historian, Dean? You know this. You know this stuff. Where did the historians get it? Let's do this. Where do the historians get what century did Jesus live in?
First century.
Okay. Where do you get that from?
Other external like secondary sources. And
what are the primary sources that they use to say that Jesus lived in the first century?
Just testimonies of people.
What testimonies? I know. What testimonies? Yeah. What are the primary testimonies that they use to put Jesus in the first century and that he spoke Aramaic and Hebrew?
It could be Josephus, other historians.
Wait, I said primary, not secondary or tertiary. What are the primary sources that they use? Because Josephus is not the primary source they use. What's the primary source they use?
Primary sources, I don't know, maybe just the Bible.
Oh, beautiful. So the historians that you're relying on are using the Bible, the New Testament, to give you accurate historical information about Jesus. You just cut yourself, bro. Thanks for coming, man.
Wait. Do you believe that?
Thanks for coming, man. You just showed me that you rely on the Bible that you just said you do not care about historically.
That's the historians. That's not my stance.
That is you, because you're relying on the historians. I asked you, Dean. I said, Dean, what language did Jesus speak? Dean, what century did Jesus live in? You said, according to historians, Aramaic and Hebrew, and he lived in the first century. You didn't even say according to historians in first century. You just answered it. First century. You answered that. And you got that from historians who used the New Testament, as you have admitted.
Okay. The New Testament. Wait one second.
No, Dean. I got to move on, bro. I'll let you on again.
Okay. So you want to make a point and move on. That's fine.
I'll be live Monday again, bro. You can come back on. We can have another conversation.
All right, bro.
All right. Take care of yourself, man. Thanks for coming up.
Thanks for showing everyone you don't know what a contradiction
And thanks for showing everybody that you contradict your own self. My goodness. I love this, man. And guys, by the way, he's one of their Dawa guys. He's one of their Dawa guys. He's one of the supposed smart ones. He's one of the ones who can refute everybody. He's one of their guys. He's one of their guys, and it's no different.